Thank you for joining the GDSN series of webinars where trading partners share their expertise, experiences, wisdom, and insights as they prepare for the major release. My name is Mariam Mirza. I am supporting the GDSN major release for the GS1 Global Office. Today we have the pleasure of speaking to Natalie Johnson from Delta Faucet. Before Natalie begins, I'll walk you through some of the main benefits and changes in the network, timing of the major release, important dates, and where you can find additional resources to help with the migration. Benefits. There's a lot to be excited about. Listed are a few of the benefits. Increased speed to market. This offers further support for business applications such as product recall, hazardous material, and sustainability. Support for industry-specific information, product marketing information, which includes B2C information for retail or other promotional processes. This may also include areas in mobile communication. Richer product information. Supports additional attributes like ingredients and allergen information and information for promotional processes, meeting new regulatory requirements, which have unique requirements or different implementations across different sectors and different geographics. Improved data quality, such as new validation rules, and support for preliminary items. As a final point, the GDSN major release delivers the ability to support the onboarding of sectors and industry into GDSN in a more efficient, cost-effective, and timely manner. It will very quickly support any request for new data attributes. Executive summary. In October 2004, when GS1 launched its GS1 GDSN, there were 74,000 G10s shared among trading partners in 13 countries in the global registry. Today, over 36,000 companies have made GDSN a cornerstone for their supply chain initiatives in more than 150 countries across multiple industry sectors. Now, more than 1.8 million G10s are shared among trading partners. To help drive further adaptation, the GDSN changes in the major release will greatly improve the implementation time for new sectors. Major Release 3 is not backward compatible, so significant activity is underway to help all parties prepare. GDSN Major Release 3 changes. Over 1,400 changes that add new value, new features, and improve functionality. Business requirement incorporated 156, 140 change requests, 300 new attributes, 1,000 code values, and over 250 new validations, and a lot more. Here are some key milestone dates from May 2015 to May 2016 that identify stakeholders should be monitoring and actively engaged in. With that, we turn to our speaker for today, Natalie Johnson. Let me give you a little background about Natalie. Natalie joined Delta Faucet Company in October 2013 as a customer data analyst. In her current role, Natalie works on product data team management, customer data, and asset needs, while collaborating with many facets of the Delta businesses, including product marketing, brand marketing, and engineering, among others. She works to ensure data quality and integrity while providing the customer with the information that they need to accurately market Delta and Brizio products to the customer. Prior to joining Delta, Natalie had 5 years of marketing and consumer analytic experiences. Now I give the floor to Natalie Johnson from Delta Faucet.
Thank you, Miriam. Welcome to today's webinar. Before we begin, let me give a little background on Delta Faucet Company. You can go to the first slide. Delta is headquartered in Indianapolis, Indiana, with manufacturing plants in Indiana, Tennessee, Canada, and China. It's a wholly owned subsidiary of Masco Corporation, one of the world's leading manufacturers of home improvement and building products. Delta operates under a 3-brand strategy: Brizio, Delta, and Peerless, selling to wholesalers like Ferguson, retailers like the Home Depot and Lowe's, online to customers like Amazon.com, and to builders like NVR. As a worldwide leader in kitchen faucets, bath faucets, shower heads, shower systems, toilets, and related accessories, Delta is focused on innovations and technologies that show the consumer that there is a better way to live with water. Next slide. So how did Delta get on this 12-year journey with GDSN? Well, it all began in 2003. Lowe's kicked off the data synchronization initiative when Delta began collaborating with One World Sync. In 2004-2005, Delta's IT team began having meetings with Transora, beginning a partnership at the behest of our customers. And in 2006, Lowe's became reinterested in data synchronization for stock models. We began utilizing One World Sync to complete the synchronization process, and in 2007, Delta was given the Excellence in Data Synchronization Award at the UConnect conference. But then, Delta went from hero to zero. In April of 2008, Lowe's pushed for 1,500 plus special order items to be synchronized for the core selling initiative. Delta assigned one person to the task, and after becoming in imminent danger of missing mission-critical deadlines, executive backing was gained to form a team. So what happened that put Delta in imminent danger? We were dealing with poor data quality. Each of the 1,500 plus items had to be touched multiple times before a successful publication was made. Problems included weight and dimension errors, effective data errors, etc. It took 2 weeks to clean up more than 2 million points of product data housed in multiple systems coming from multiple sources. We had limited resources, one person assigned to complete all synchronization and maintain all points of data. There was a lack of ownership and governance. Each department worked independently, and there was no real ownership of each point of data. There was a lack of executive awareness or sponsorship towards product data. And in 2008, after resolution of the immediate situation, a cross-functional team was established to continue identifying problems and put best practices in place, focusing on transactional logistical data. But there was still no ownership or accountability for each data point submitted to our customers. In 2009, Delta fielded 2 separate complaints by large customers for having poor marketing data. The data quality was inconsistent, there were no rules or standards in place, current processes were inefficient, and again, there was a lack of ownership and governance over the data. These 2 complaints resulted in a desire to improve the perception of our brands and increase our overall business, and an increasing focus on product data from internal and external customers. In December of 2009, a permanent data quality team was established with executive sponsorship. In 2010, Delta developed a 3-step program to begin focusing on product data and product data quality. But first we had to analyze the current situation. What were our customers' needs? We held meetings with key internal stakeholders and visited external customers. Needs assessments were completed both internally and externally, highlighting areas of concern. These conversations opened a communication channel both internally and externally. And then we had to analyze our data quality. This focus led to a deep dive on all of our product data. We were averaging a 21% error rate across 2 systems. After the analyzing phase was complete, we went into planning and execution mode. It began with a mass cleanup of greater than 450,000 data points with a focus on 15 key attributes as prioritized from customer meetings with a goal to reduce the error rate by 80%. Current processes were improved and new processes were developed to enhance data quality and timeliness. After the analyzing and planning phases were complete, we began to measure the success. A post-cleanup analysis revealed 97% reduction in data errors for the 15 key attributes. We streamlined processes for initial item setup both internally and externally, and we developed quality checks for key attributes. But the fun didn't stop there. In the summer of 2012, Delta implemented a product information management tool, or PIM system, that allowed for flexible data modeling, integration with other systems providing a single source of the truth for multiple platforms, data governance capabilities, the ability to set user permissions and versioning, set up workflow processes, complete mass updates as needed, and provided easier reporting methods. And most importantly, direct data synchronization with One World Sync. Next slide. Direct data sync with One World Sync is set up as a funnel. Our cross-functional teams input the data into our PIM system, including things like case quantities, packaging types, marketing attributes, etc. These attributes that are required for synchronization with our customers are then sent to the GDSN, who then pass the required information onto our customers. It's a perfect flow. Data goes in, passed on to the GDSN, and ultimately feeds our customers. But then came Major Release 3. The integration between our PIM system, One World Sync, and our customers will no longer flow smoothly. New values and old values will prevent data from migrating from Delta's PIM system to the GDSN, which means that if it doesn't come through the GDSN, it won't be going to our customers. Major Release 3 has a major impact on our synchronization process. So the question becomes, what do we do? How do we prepare? Next slide. Preparation began with collaborative, let me reiterate, collaborative meetings scheduled with IT. At Delta, IT is heavily integrated with our team. The product data team manages the front-end data that is sent to our customers, but IT manages the back-end system that houses the data and sends it across to our solutions provider. One World Sync, the conversation began by laying out and understanding the process as it existed today. We established who owned the process, we outlined a timeline for completion of the overall process, and assigned deadlines for each task that needed to be completed in order to hit our target date. Secondly, we began collaborating with our solutions provider, One World Sync. These conversations helped us to understand which changes needed to be made by Delta versus those that would be made by OneSync. We discussed how One World Sync could help us hit our target deadline and deliver results. One World Sync developed a Major Release 3 change document that analyzed over 2,769 potential attribute changes and simplified it down to 82 that would need to be reviewed by Delta, saving us time and effort and putting us on track to hit our target completion date. Next slide. The third step in our process was to begin reviewing the GS1 Major Release 3 documents for specific data changes. The scope was narrowed by the change document from One World Sync, but we still needed to understand what all was involved in the changes we needed to make, which values were old and would no longer be required, which values were new and we would need a new integration with our PIM system. Do we already have the data collected, or do we need to be in collection of the data from our internal team? To work through these questions, we continue to meet monthly with IT to understand the progress of each of our changes. We've defined who will own each update, whether IT or the product data team. We've identified the changes that need to be made to our PIM system and those attributes that are now required but are not yet collected internally. And finally, we continue to work together toward the goal for completion by December 2015 for the 2016 release. Major Release 3 sounds scary, but when the changes are broken down into manageable pieces, you begin defining ownership for each phase of the process, and you utilize your internal teams and solutions provider. The changes become less overwhelming. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation, Natalie. Just a few questions from our viewers. The first question is, Natalie, in collecting packaging data across product line and regions, did you find any differences in acceptable tolerance range? If so, how did you come to remedy this?
In reviewing packaging dimensions, we haven't found inconsistencies. We've stuck by GS1 standards when it comes to packaging measurements, and so that's when we do our audits quarterly. We have our teams at the plant measure the packages and compare that to what we're currently showing in our systems, and any variances outside of that are then remedied with the packaging engineers.
Great, thank you. The next question, what contingencies will Delta Faucet adapt, if any, of their customers are not ready as ready for major release as Delta Faucet appears to be? Has this risk been identified?
The risk has not yet been identified, but it's something that is in the works in conversation with our customers, especially our key customers that utilize the synchronization process with One World Sync to receive our data. So we're beginning to have those conversations preemptively.
Great, thank you. And our last question, have you tried One World Sync's new Major Release 3 pre-pod interface yet? Any experiences to share?
We have not, but we just had a conversation with IT about trying to do some testing before we get to the Major Release 3 go live date in May.
Great. Thank you, Natalie, for your presentation. Just a reminder that the presentation will be posted to our website along with the recording. We will now close the webinar. Thank you all for your participation, and thank you, Natalie, for your presentation. And with that, I would like to wish you all a good day and good evening. Thank you.